Live from WTVO Rockford and your home team. Eyewitness News at 5 starts now.
Illinois Democrats announced changes to the controversial Safety Act. Lawmakers say an amendment tightens up vague language in the law.
Local school districts discuss the impact of the pandemic on students. Educators consider ways to improve academic progress.
And Rockford loses a youth advocate and mentor. The impact Glenn Patterson had on the Boys and Girls Club and the community. Good evening, I'm Mimi Murphy.
And I'm Eric Wilson. The Safety Act eliminates cash bail January 1st as part of an overhaul of Illinois' pretrial system. But
before that happens, lawmakers are fixing crucial parts. Eyewitness News is keeping you connected to the Capitol. Democrats are making changes to parts of the law that critics took aim at over the summer, starting with more forcible felonies included in the detention net. The law spells out clearly which felony accusations require someone to be detained. Probational offenses were excluded, but now serious crimes like second-degree murder and multiple forms of kidnapping do fall under the law. Democrats feel it's a good compromise. Some states' attorneys say they're pleased with the changes, but agree more needs to be done.
This is something that we actually always knew was going to happen. The idea is that, again, we still have a detention net that is very clear. Judges have discretion within that detention net.
There are still some things where that we had to give up or we're not satisfied with. There are still some issues that need to be addressed, but it's definitely a more workable process.
Democrats who control both chambers of the legislature expect the amendment to pass tomorrow. There's still a pending legal challenge to the original bill put together by more than 50 states' attorneys across Illinois. The past couple of years have been hard for everyone, especially students. They lost months of learning when the pandemic started, then had an entire year of remote classes.
Local administrators got together to look at COVID's effect on education. Nikel Delgado joins us with more. Nikel.
That's right, Eric and Mimi. Local school district leaders shared the impact of COVID-19 on their students. Superintendent from Rockford Public School as well as the Harlem District discussed what worked for their students and what didn't. They talked about everything from attendance data, enrollment, and academic outcomes to addressing the significant impact on students' academic progress and well-being. This was all put on by Advance Illinois. The group's president stressed that it's important to understand what the impact has been, where we are now, so that we know what work is ahead.
You can't really address issues unless you're honest about what those issues are, which means you need to have a common understanding of what the data is. What did happen to enrollment? What did happen to attendance? What did happen to graduation rates? What did happen to sort of learning opportunities? Were kids that were learning remotely versus in person, was there a difference in how they were impacted? What are the social and emotional implications? That's something we're all coming to grips with, and the more that we are talking with ourselves, we have a collective understanding of the issue, and are sharing what's working and what's not, the better we're going to be able to serve our kids, and that's what this is all about.
Coming up at 6, we hear from local school districts and their plans for moving forward. Eric?
Thanks, Nikel. The state line mourns the loss of a Roscoe 5th grade teacher. Kinnickinnick Elementary School says Denise Irving passed away unexpectedly last Thursday. She was 44 years old and had been teaching at the school for 21 years. Her wake is scheduled December 2nd in Des Plaines. A memorial will take place at the school the next day. The administration encourages people to wear purple in her honor. There's a GoFundMe set up. All the donations will go towards funeral expenses and college funds for her 2 daughters. We have that link on our website, mystateline.com. Rockford area community also mourns the loss of a man who influenced so many young lives. Glenn Patterson, a former teacher and Boys and Girls Club leader, died this past weekend.
Amory Wilder learned more about his impact through people who knew him. And Amory, what did he mean to the organization and the community?
Well, Eric and Mimi, members of the Boys and Girls Club say what they'll remember most about Glenn is his passion. While he was only the director at the Black Hawk Center for 2 years, his dedication was fulfilling a lifetime mission of helping kids.
Glenn meant so much to the Boys and Girls Club, and the Boys and Girls Club meant so much to him.
The president and CEO at the Boys and Girls Club of Rockford, Chip Stoner, reminisces about longtime teacher Glenn Patterson. According to Stoner, Patterson passed while preparing to watch a Packers game on his couch. He lost consciousness and never regained it. The next day, the Black Hawk Boys and Girls Club shared their condolences on Facebook, writing, "Glenn was a Boys and Girls Club member growing up, in return to play an integral role as director."
He grew up here at the Black Hawk Housing Development, and him and his family joined the Boys and Girls Club, the Boys Club then as a young child, and he felt the Boys Club is why he went on to have a successful career as an educator, and his goal was to give back.
A graduate of East High, Glenn felt education was key. He believed if you did well in school, you'll do well in life. Stoner says majority of Glenn's career, he was an educator, teaching at a variety of schools.
And that's what made him special here, is he worked with the schools closely, Constant Lane, Lincoln, and East.
Stoner says Glenn had a way of connecting with the youth. That was evident when people became aware of Patterson's passing. Many wrote heartfelt messages expressing the difference he made in their life.
I think with Glenn's passing, you saw this tremendous outpouring of love and support, and I don't think we're aware of how many people he touched and how many kids he influenced, whether it was while he was a teacher, whether it was he was a coach. Glenn has touched so many people in this community, and he was a special man, and he will be deeply missed.
There is a celebration of life candlelit vigil this Friday from 4 to 6 at the Black Hawk Boys and Girls Club. Patterson's visitation and funeral services will be held next week. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks, Amory.
You can get a special deal this week at a local animal shelter.
Winnebago County Animal Services is hosting its Empty the Shelter event. It's sponsored by the Bissell Pet Foundation. Starting tomorrow, select dogs and kittens can be adopted for just $25. For adult cats, it's $10. Kennels are at critical capacity.
Running out of kennels every day. We're struggling with staffing and able to care for the animals, just with the amount of animals we're seeing come through our building, especially when it should be kind of a slower season as the weather is getting colder. That's not been the case for us.
The event runs until Saturday. We have a link to an early adoption questionnaire you can fill out. Just find this story at mystateline.com.
The U.S. House passes a bill to avoid a national rail strike threatened for December 9th.
The bill would hold both sides to a proposed settlement that was reached in September but rejected by some of the 12 unions involved. The two sides have been working towards a collective bargaining agreement for months. A major sticking point was the amount of paid sick time given to rail workers by the railroad companies. House lawmakers added an amendment to add more sick days to the deal. The measure now awaits a Senate vote. Some experts have predicted a rail strike could cost the economy around $1 billion a day.
Democratic U.S. Representative Hakeem Jeffries becomes the first Black American to lead a major political party in Congress. He was unanimously elected this morning as the party's new House leader. The 52-year-old from New York has vowed to get things done despite Republicans narrowly winning control of the chamber. Previous leader, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, stepped aside. Democrats' majority leader and whip are also leaving their post. More internal elections are planned for tomorrow.
Former President Obama's announcement to run for the White House back in 2007 in Springfield will forever be remembered. An historical marker was dedicated today at the old state capitol. It commemorates Obama's announcement at the building on that frigid day. An estimated 17,000 people attended Obama's announcement. He was the Illinois junior Democratic U.S. Senator at the time. He defeated Republicans U.S. Senator John McCain in the general election, becoming our nation's first black president. He won another 4-year term in 2012.
Now, your first warned weather forecast from Chief Meteorologist Candace King.
Well, what a change from yesterday to this afternoon as temperatures are quite a bit colder out there. We take a live look with our SkyTrack camera now out of the Park Hills Golf Course in Freeport. Cloud cover that we had out earlier today clearing out, which will leave us with a mostly clear sky as we go through this evening. Unfortunately, that is going to allow our temperatures here tonight to drop down into the teens. Wind chills are still going to fall into the single digits, and that's where some of those numbers are at already. Feels like 4 in Galena, 11 our wind chill in Freeport, Rockford, 5 the wind chill right now in Monroe, as actual air temperatures are currently in the low to mid-20s. We are nearly 30 degrees colder than what we were this time yesterday, all thanks to that strong cold front that came through. Our weather watcher Sandy in the Kirkland-Fairdale area checking in, 23 degrees. She says, ugh, the wind out there as it's been rather strong. No rain, no snow today, although we have had a couple of flurries from time to time. Relative humidity sits at 63%. I'd like to welcome our new weather watcher, Terry from Genoa in northern DeKalb County. Welcome. Thank you so much for reporting. 24 down there, dew point at 12, so very dry. And we've had a pretty gusty wind now from the southwest down to 32 miles per hour. Those wind gusts are something that'll stay with us over the next couple of hours. We still have some winds gusting close to 30, 35 miles per hour, but the wind speeds will come down just a bit. Unfortunately, our winds sustained from the west may travel today on the north-south roads, a little more on the difficult side. Again, those winds will kind of calm down a bit as high pressure settles in, but the combination of that, along with the clear sky and just that cold air mass, temperatures tonight are going to drop into the teens, right around 17 degrees with those single-digit wind chills. Some numbers may even get close to 0 for the start of tomorrow. The upside, you don't have much wind, but the wind does pick up during the afternoon tomorrow. That cold really settling in across much of the Midwest, the Great Lakes, and the Plains. You've actually had that clockwise spin down across the Central Plains. That's that high-pressure system. So as that moves closer to us, our wind speeds will begin to subside. Temperatures tomorrow still cool in the mid-30s for the afternoon. Winds will pick back up from the south and southeast during the afternoon and evening tomorrow, gusting at times to about 25 and even 30 miles per hour. Tomorrow is the beginning of December 1st, also the beginning of meteorological winter. It's the 3-month period of December, January, and February, which are climatologically the 3 coldest months out of the year. On average, that average high through the month drops from that 40-degree mark at the first of the month down to 30 degrees. January, our coldest month, although we know we can get some pretty cold days anytime during this 3-month period. And once we get through February, those numbers, they begin to go up. I think that chill is something that is going to stick around at least into next week, if not beyond, as we hold on to a cooler pattern. Mid-30s for tomorrow, wind will pick up. We end up with a little more cloud cover going into the start of Friday. Temperatures, though, Friday afternoon will warm back near 50 degrees. It will feel cold, though, or at least cool, because we do have a bit of a wind. There is a light rain chance that'll come in Friday evening. May see a flurry or 2 late Saturday with another warm front, and then our numbers will kind of drop back again, guys, into the low 30s for next week.
Now sports with sports director Scott Lever.
The needle is moving in the right direction for Justin Fields in terms of his chances of playing Sunday against the Packers. He did participate in practice today on a limited basis, and he told reporters he's making progress with that injured shoulder.
Yeah, I feel better than last Wednesday for sure, so just feeling better each and every day.
Are you proceeding through the week expecting to start on Sunday?
Just depends on, what I can do in practice and stuff like that. So, yeah, and it's my first day this week when I'm getting out on the field, so we'll see.
Just in case Fields can't go, the Bears signed quarterback Tim Boyle off the Lions practice squad. Trevor Siemian sat out practice today to rest his oblique injury. So maybe we'll see both Fields and Rodgers in action Sunday. Matt LaFleur says he expects Rodgers to practice at some point this week and possibly be ready on Sunday. Meanwhile, LaFleur says the Packers are preparing to face Fields.
Yeah, we'd be foolish not to plan for Justin, because if you don't, you will get gutted. And he's just that quarterback run game they have is pretty spectacular, and it doesn't even always show up just in the run game, but even on his ability to drop back, and if nothing's there, to pull it down and find a window and or an escape lane and make it pay in that regard.
It is a noon kickoff Sunday at Soldier Field. You can see the game on Fox 39. The all-conference football picks are in for the Big Ten. The Fighting Illini did quite well, landing several players on one of the top 3 teams on both sides of the football. Leading the way is cornerback Devin Witherspoon. He's been named the Big Ten's Defensive Back of the Year while snaring first-team honors. Defensive back Sidney Brown and defensive lineman Jerzon Newton also made the first team. Several more players made the all-conference second team, including running back Chase Brown. Brown has also been named a finalist for the Doak Walker Award, which goes to the nation's top running back. Well, the Knicks and boys basketball season is set to tip off tonight, and these are the matchups. Freeport at Auburn, East at Belvedere, Boylan at Belvedere North, Jefferson at Guilford, and Harlem at Hononegah. All the highlights here at 10.
Candace, we'll have another look at our forecast in just a moment.
First, Dan Abrams and Ashley Banfield have a News Nation preview.
Tonight on Dan Abrams Live. GOP House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy now warning if he's not elected Speaker, Democrats could end up making the pick. Is that for real? That's tonight on Dan Abrams Live.
Tonight on Banfield, with the Idaho killer still on the loose, students are gathering for a vigil tonight. But could the killer mix into the crowd as they honor the 4 victims? And what's the FBI doing to watch everyone who turns out? That's tonight on Banfield on News Nation.
That's all coming up on the cable and satellite stations you see on the left there. You can also head to newsnation.com.
It is going to be a cold one tonight. We've got a clear sky, the first warn interactive radar on mystateline.com. Temperatures tonight down around 17. We'll keep those single-digit wind chills going into the start of tomorrow. Up to 36, a little more cloud cover late in the day. Winds will pick up as well. That'll push our temperature near 50 on Friday, but it'll feel cool and the low 50s possible late in the evening. Another strong cold front Saturday, 30s next week.
All right, thanks, Candace.
And thank you for spending some time with us. Stay safe.